Welcome back to Talk of the Town on WHTC, Holland's Cool FM, on WHTC.com, and on the WHTC app for your smartphone. Once again, here's your host, Gary Stevens.
Welcome back to Talk of the Town for this Monday, July 27th. It is the fourth Monday of the month, which means at this time we catch up with things going on at Gateway Mission. Jason Parks is with the Mission, and he joins us on the other side of our table this morning. Good morning, Jason. Welcome back.
Good morning, Gary. Thanks for having me.
If you have a question about what's going on at Gateway Mission or the homeless situation in the Holland-Zeeland area, Jason will be happy to answer your question at 616-395-1450, 616-395-1450. Before we talk a little bit about the homeless situation in the Holland-Zeeland area, let's tie up a few loose ends. First of all, no news right now on the land at 24th and US 31 where the Gateway Spoon was. It has been planned for a possible convenience store service station operated by Meijer. Mm-hmm. So far, the building, the Spoon is still up, and it's at that site. No news isn't good news or bad news or what?
Kind of neutral. But yeah, no, we're still in conversations, just still, dotting some I's, crossing some T's, with working with Meijer to close that. So, yeah, that's still the potential plan. And so, don't have a time frame update, unfortunately, right now, though.
One major thing for the Mission that I do want to bring up right away, because it is one of its major fundraisers, besides, of course, the resale store, mm-hmm. is the annual golf outing.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so we moved it to September 29th this year. So it's still at the Ravines, and we're taking registrations for teams, or if you're interested in sponsoring, you can reach out to me directly, or if you go to hopefoundhere.org and click on events, golf outing registrations under the event page. And we'd love to have, if you got a team or even if you got a couple, we can always pair you with a foursome. But yeah, it's always a good time and raises some money for a great cause.
Not only is there the golf outing, I assume there's a few other things involved with it as well, maybe sure. Some raffles and stuff like that.
Yeah, we got a bunch of prizes raffle out. Very thankful for the local businesses that donate some pretty awesome items every year to raffle off. We usually have a testimony every year at the lunch after golfing's done from one of our program students and or graduates, which is really impactful. And then, it's a good time. And, looking forward to should be hopefully perfect fall weather we're hoping for, obviously. But, if you want to go to, again, hopefoundhere.org under events, we'd love to have you and your team out.
Speaking about events, before we talk about, again, homelessness in general.
Sure.
And, of course, the great Thanksgiving banquet, which mm-hmm. will be the Wednesday before Thanksgiving at DeVos Fieldhouse. Is there a special ceremony that comes up between the golf outing and the banquet, or that really is more for the spring, isn't it? Where you have you honor people.
Like a graduation.
Yeah.
So we've our Forge program, which is our long-term 9-month program at Gateway. We've been doing it about every 9 months ish. Mm-hmm. I'm to be honest, I'm not sure when the next one would fall in, but we usually post that when the next one's planned, which it should be coming soon. We had one about 4 or 5 months ago.
Okay. But I just didn't know. I thought
it sometimes does land before right around that Thanksgiving time. And if we have a graduation class that would be coming up, we tried to do it before the holiday, obviously, so it's not that big gap between Thanksgiving and Christmas where you obviously don't want to plan a big event between those holidays where you're not going to have the best attendance. But we may have a forced graduation coming up, which I can inform you probably next time we're on for sure. Yeah,
I just trying to honor those who are
yes
making it through the program.
Yes,
so that ties in a little bit with what I want to bring up.
Sure,
and I want to get your thoughts on how Gateway addresses the homeless situation as not compared, and that's a bad term, but
sure.
we look at other communities and how they are addressing the homeless situation and why perhaps what is working here in Holland, well, we don't have the problems here as maybe some other communities might have. Again, I don't want to make it sound like I'm comparing.
Not at all. Yeah.
Jason, but.
Yeah, no, I totally get where you're coming from, Gary. And I appreciate the question. And I mean, this is, I think I've even reiterated on your show, we're very thankful to have a plethora of nonprofit organizations and churches in our, just the Holland and Zeeland area alone. And, I kind of look at it as, kingdom gifts where, God grants each of us different gifts that we're able to use for his kingdom and to serve others. And so, yeah, in terms of it, like you said, I don't really call it comparison, but I think we serve in different ways because we're gifted in different ways. And I think that's organizationally as well. And so, yeah, at Gateway, we're definitely taking a very programmatic approach where, structure and goal setting and work is emphasized and rules and creating that or instilling that in the men and women that we serve in hopes of that life transformation we talk about at Gateway. So, I would say we're focused more on the long-term transformation versus like the immediate relief, where some organizations, which we see throughout the globe, I think, or without the nation, I guess specifically, that you're probably referencing, where, a lot of organizations focus on just that relief phase, where it's just that initial, like, okay, hey, somebody might need a meal, or somebody's, asking for money on the street to do whatever, or needs a tent to live outside or whatever. So there's a need for that immediate relief phase, but we're really working on the rehabilitation and moving forward and trying to progress them to development as they move throughout their life. And again, we kind of have a saying around Gateway that we want to serve you the best we can while you're in Gateway's programs under our roof. But our goal is to empower you to become a community member that's empowered and encouraged and moving forward on your own. And then so hopefully you don't have to be relying on Gateway, for the rest of your life. And then you can go on to others to hopefully encourage them to be like, hey, here's where I was, and now I'm here. And be very, valued members of our community. And so, yeah, it's a much more, I guess, long-term goal that we're focused on than maybe some organizations who are just focused on that relief. And again, no comparison.
Yeah.
It's both a need that needs to be filled, especially in the society we're living in right now.
Okay. The reason why is that story today, Dateline, St. Paul, Minnesota. The Minnesota State Capitol plan to clear its 3 established homeless encampments before the winter. Mm-hmm. The city will begin with the Pig's Eye Park encampment on August 5th, where an estimated 120 people are living. Mm-hmm. City leaders cite more than 850 emergency calls from the 3 camps over the past year. The city has provided $1 million to add about 50 beds, but officials acknowledge there are still more people than available beds. Advocates say clearing the camps without enough shelter could scatter vulnerable people, make it harder to connect them with services. Mm-hmm. Again, some communities see it as the public throwing money into it.
Yeah.
Others, and I'm putting Holland in this situation, mm-hmm. We're not seeing City of Holland putting money in it, or Zeeland, but the organizations have stepped up to help in that regard.
Yeah, I agree with that. And, we've seen that throughout the last 2 years after we launched our Hope Outreach team, really having personal interactions with a lot of those homeless camps around here that I know you were familiar with. A lot of the cleanup happened in collaboration with Holland Police Department, and they were very helpful in that, and other organizations. And a lot of those have been cleaned up. I've heard personally, just from the downtown tenants and business owners that, versus 24 months ago, there's been a lot of movement with just the unhoused population that's downtown Holland, or individuals that might be panhandling or might be, intoxicated, for instance. I think a lot of that has gone down in terms of what I have heard from, local downtown business owners that it used to be a much bigger problem. So yeah, I mean, I think organizations, including ours, are doing a great job in trying to, again, build relationships. I think, we make a huge emphasis on building relationships in all we do. And I personally think that is the most important thing when we're talking about poverty alleviation, is that a lot of these individuals who are struggling with whether it's addiction or homelessness or mental health or whatever, they a lot of the times just don't have anybody in their corner, so to say. And it can make a huge impact by even the smallest of effort in trying to build a relationship with somebody, and the encouragement and hope that instills in that person can make a huge difference in their life. But again, it takes time, and it takes the willingness to want to build that relationship. And I think there's a lot of good-hearted people out there that want to do well and serve others, but they don't want to necessarily take the time that it takes to do it right, so to say.
All right, 616-395-1450. If you have a question for Jason Parks, he is with Gateway Mission, 616-395-1450. In an ideal world, Jason, which will not happen because we're in a fallen world, so it's not going to happen, but in an ideal world, we wouldn't need Gateway Mission. We wouldn't need Community Action House. We wouldn't need City on a Hill Ministries or other charitable organizations because there won't be people homeless. There won't be people struggling with addictions or issues. Unfortunately, though, human life, our fallen world as it is, we need these services. And business, unfortunately, I'm going to use the term unfortunately because in light of what I just said, unfortunately, business is booming at Gateway Mission. You got a lot of people in both the men's and as well as the women's and children's missions.
Yeah. I love that you mentioned that, because I do always have the saying that we'd love to be out of business. But since moving to our new men's building, we've, over the last month, we've had over 100 men in that building. And, for those that have been familiar with Holland Rescue Mission or the men's shelter and Gateway over the years, normally, we range at the men's shelter in the summers when the weather is, semi-decent. It's between 40 to 60 max. So seeing over 100 at our men's building is a record in organization history. We're very, I want to reiterate, we're so blessed to have, everybody that contributed to helping us move into the new men's center and renovate that. And it's, I keep coming back to the word dignity, is when you walk in there, it doesn't necessarily feel like a homeless shelter. And I think that has a lot to do with our numbers increasing there, where men previously might have walked into our old shelter and been like, hey, I don't necessarily want to stay here long term, so I'm just going to kind of, stay a couple days and go back outside or whatever it may be. And now you walk in there and you're like, man, this is pretty nice for a homeless shelter. So again, we're just so blessed to have that opportunity to serve the men that way. So I think that's increasing the number. The other thing that we're seeing, both at the men's, so we're upwards of 80 plus at the women's and children's still consistently. For the last almost 3.5 years, we've been between 80 and 100 consistently at the women's and children's, which is also, about a 30% increase in organization history. But one thing that's adding or contributing to that is the length of stay for the people we're serving. So, affordable housing is, I say affordable housing, but that's kind of a joke around here. With the lack of long-term affordable housing for the individuals that we're serving, the length of stay has increased at our shelters, which we're more than happy to serve, because we don't want to launch anybody into a housing situation where, okay, now they can only afford 1 to 2 months rent, and then they're back, right where they were and on our doorstep. So that's the last thing we want. So in that, we're actually even revamping new programs to even let individuals stay longer in our programs. So where, before it could have been anywhere from 9 to 24 months for our programs. Now we're upwards of sometimes 3 years plus that people are staying with us. And again, they're working in our programs, they're getting paid, they're saving money. But when you look at how much a 1-bedroom apartment cost, and then they got to get a vehicle and they got to get insurance on that vehicle, and they got food and gas prices are the way they are. I mean, and then if you throw any kids into the mix, it's just they're really just trying to climb a mountain, without ever seeing the summit, so to say. So yeah, we're really trying hard, and again, that comes into the collaboration piece is where when they're ready to launch, we have a lot of good partners that are trying to work to find them long-term housing.
And the thing is, you've emphasized that, yeah, they're staying longer, but you're seeing progress. That's one of the key things with Gateway Mission is you want to see them progress.
Yes.
Instead of just staying there, I got a place to stay. Don't have to do any more.
Right. Yeah, and that's why where we differentiate from other organizations is we're kind of holding an individual accountable, and again, work is a high priority for us at Gateway. And so, to be honest, sometimes we get a bad name in the community that we have rules and we have regulations and we make people work, but I don't know about you, Gary, but I have to do chores at my house where I live, and that's just part of living in my house, and so. It does bring a lot of dignity, though. Like there was a guy, I'll just tell you really quick. There was a guy washing windows the other day when I was at the men's shelter. And he actually came up and thanked our staff because he's been in and out of men's rescue missions throughout really the state and the nation throughout his life. And he said this was the first one he ever got to work a job. And just to see the sense of pride and like accomplishment and that he was being empowered by actually given a duty and then being thanked for doing that duty, that was just affirmation of why we feel that work is so important, because it's not only contributing to the team and the community that they're living in, but it really does empower and encourage the individual to take pride in what they're doing and to feel like they're a valued part of the community. And so that's really in a nutshell why we're emphasizing that, hey, we want you to work and we want you to build structure and to help you move forward as an individual.
Jason, as many of our listeners know, of course, I come from the Detroit area and well aware of a certain person by the name of Charlesetta Waddles, better known as Mother Waddles. It's been 25 years. She passed away 25 years ago at the age of 88. Very charitable person. One of her charities is still around. Mother Waddles car donation. Donate your car to Mother Waddles. Donate your car as well to Gateway Mission. Your car donation services is still going on pretty strong.
Yes, yeah. This is my first time hearing of Mother Waddles, so thank you for that. I had no idea, so I'll have to look into her. We've one thing I mentioned, previously in the previous segment is transportation is another huge barrier. Trying to get a job, it's hard logistically sometimes when they're living at the mission long term, and we get them bicycles, and we have an abundance. Very appreciative of all the donations that people donate. Really good bikes, and that's a huge form of transportation for the men and women that we serve. But yeah, we over the last couple of years, I think some donors have come and been like, "Hey, do you guys still take cars?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we do." So it's just a reminder that if you have a used car that you're looking to part with, we'd love to have a conversation with you. You can talk to our donations manager at the donations store, or contact us at info@hopefoundhere.org, or call us. And Scott Machma, our director of constituent services, and the store has been managing those as well. But yeah, we really, really appreciate it. And we've had some really cool stories of individuals, being able to get a vehicle for the first time, and have transportation to work. And again, that's like you just mentioned, we're really proud that even the length of stay, but we're making that progress. And, these individuals are, purchasing, insurance for the first time, or, being able to pay in full for a year so they have coverage. And, so having reliable transportation is a huge need right now for the people we're serving. So we really appreciate, if you would consider, if you do have a used car that's, in semi decent shape and doesn't need thousands of dollars worth of repair, we'd love to have a conversation. And even if it does, honestly, we've had a couple. Westside Service bought our building right on our campus there on 24th and Waverly, and they've been a great partner. So if somebody does donate a car, we'll have them, do a service check. And there's been some instances where, hey, we're able to fix up what needs to be done, and then able to resell it to somebody in need. So.
Ignorant question, but I'll pose it anyway. I know that Gateway has helped those in the food services.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
certainly when the spoon was around, but even now, even though the spoon's no longer around, you still have culinary classes.
Yes,
and helping those pursue a field. What about auto mechanics?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and I'm glad you mentioned the food insecurities as well. But so Westside has been great partners, and we've had discussions with them and actually a couple other garages in the area to do a apprentice. We haven't really had anybody interested in going that route yet who's been in our Forge program, but it's definitely, we've had talks about that, and we think it's a great track going forward. And so if we get more interest from students, we'll definitely continue
be it auto or be it, say, electrician.
Correct.
Plumbing, other trades.
Yep, and we actually have a really good relationship. Another thing about the collaboration is a lot of the trade schools or the even at having a GRCCE campus here, we've had some students that are interested in trades or been able to go to the tech center, just north of us and pursue some of that too. That's definitely, we're always open to, if there's a local business that wants to collaborate or give internships or job opportunities to the people we serve, please reach out and contact us. And I'd love to have a conversation with you because we have a lot of business owners who are very generous that will look past, hey, if they know they're doing the right thing at Gateway, worked hard in the programs, graduated, even if they have a record that may, be from an outside applicant or whatnot, the HR department may look at that and be like, hey, we can't, but they kind of will overlook that sometimes to work with an individual who is trying to change their life. And so we really, really appreciate that. The other thing I'll mention really quick, because I forgot to bring this up, but we just relaunched what we call the farm program. So we'll be at Ottawa County Fair Thursday for the sale day. But right now it used to be under Love Inc., but we've relaunched that under Gateway's 501c3. So Hungry for Christ and Gateway right now are the initial organizations that will benefit from that. We're looking to partner with more organizations like they used to do. They had about for 20 years this farm program. Basically what it is people can donate animals. The farm program covers the meat processing cost. And then that meat goes out to individuals in need. So Hungry for Christ, for instance, focus more on the family and individual food insecurities. And then obviously Gateway, we're serving around 200 people every day in our shelters and programs. So, we're very blessed to be at the Ottawa County Fair. Thursday is the sale day, so we'll be out there handing out flyers and promoting that program as we continue to move that forward. Yeah,
the livestock auction on Thursday at the fair is 4:00 in the afternoon, and yes. I think that's when you will be.
Yeah, we'll be there about 3 to 9. Appreciate you. I should have brought that up earlier, but thanks, Gary.
By the way, the fair does begin at 3:00 this afternoon. It's a 6-day run over at the fairgrounds. More information. HopeFoundHere.org, HopeFoundHere.org, or call the mission. And I got the wrong music here. Okay, we moved that on and moved this over. 616-396-2200, 616-396-2200 for Gateway Mission. Jason Parks, as always, thank you very much for spending some time with us and telling us what's going on. Wish you and everybody at the mission well. Look forward to chatting with you again soon.
Thanks so much, Gary. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Jason Parks from the Gateway Mission. CBS News straight ahead, followed by WHTC News, and then more talk of the town. Our second hour includes Brian Spencer's What's New Around Holland and a conversation with State House Representative Brad Slaw. You're listening to Talk of the Town on WHTC Holland's Cool FM.